Does a master need a master?
Of course. I mean, it's part of a continuum. It's not really just like a starting point and end point. It's a continuum, a continuous feed. Yeah. That's your answer. To start with.
And so is the master's function to develop other masters in order to keep that continuum going?
Not by any kind of self, let's say, strategic design. Yeah. The one thing feeds everything, and the everything feeds the one thing. That's pretty much the norm in the law, if you can understand it for what it is.
Does a master seek out students or wait for them?
Well, one so-called master can't speak for all of them,
Yes.
but they all have their functions, and they may not see themselves as that. Because it's not about the view of that makes the difference. It's not what you see yourself as, but to what degree you unfold into the radiance of intelligence, creatively speaking. So you are fearless, like a warrior, but a warrior of peace. Fierceness, no doubt, but gentle fierceness all the time.
So do masters seek mastership, or is it reluctant?
There's nothing to seek. The seeker seeks mastership. The master lives mastership.
Is that living a demonstration for the purpose of helping others?
It's for the purpose of no helping, no others. Everyone is served by it. It comes from an urge, let's say, maybe even a genetic code in some cases, where it does. And you realize it at one point, maybe later on in your journey, and in your fancy karmic footwork, that it's doing it without your help. And it may be better that way. To put it in certain terms.
So would you say there are reluctant or unwilling masters?
I'm not sure they'd be called masters. Now, if you're talking about certain crazy peeps, they're going to do what they have to do from their own reality, say. And it may not have anything to do with traditional or conventional morality. But we're not speaking about masters who are just clever and skillful. If it's spiritual, then they are masters of what the heart is and what it could be for others. So that's really the point to look at. See? It has nothing to do with the self, although that appears to be the case in the beginning. Because at that point, let's say if you're evolving into a certain kind of service, then you need to be concerned about what your self is in terms of the limitations you have bought into, or you were born into, or have to work through. It's as simple as that. And beyond that, there's no karma. And nothing changes. There's no self or other, and nothing changes. Only nothing changes. Yeah. Paradox maybe, mystery even. That's the way it is for those who reach a certain state of clear or neutral awareness. And where we might also add the word obviousness enters into your view.
Does the master create conditions to accelerate the development of his students?
Well, the word to use is can. Can one do that if it were necessary? Yes, and much more, and much less. If there is such a thing as a master, then the conditions are already set up around the person. So we can say you know them by their works. No, you can know them by their conditions. Not just their works or by their speech particularly, but by the conditions that are set up around them. You can tell a master because there's a certain kind of condition set up around it, not because the master wants it, but because the universe wants it. So then we see that the universe creates the condition. That means the universe is in a certain kind of resonance with, or in agreement with, such a being for its own purposes. Fair.
And so does the, let's say, the master's resonance with the universe create conditions that others experience?
It must. The universe is all conditions and all beings. So something's going on. I have no clue, but something's going on here. Yeah. You have to be able to see it that way. Everything is going on. Since everything is going on, nothing is going on. So it's the everything of nothing and the nothing of everything that you need to be properly resting within, or upon that, or as that.
Is it the master's vibrational field that people experience and respond to?
Could be. Could be whisperings. Could be conversation. It could be talk. It could be blowing in the wind. The birds could tell you. Everything could tell you. Everything could be a sign of what it is. Which means the universe is in a certain kind of creative position and function to lead you to the master by itself, whatever the master is, which then would also be itself. But then for the individual, that's how it reveals itself to you, let's say at the most intense level. Because when you meet such a one, the master, you're not really meeting someone other, you're meeting yourself. That's very important, you meet yourself. Something you've avoided seeing and meeting properly, and you meet yourself. You come to terms with yourself. You enter into yourself, in a manner of speaking. To the degree, if we're talking to the extreme, then you might find that that self is the true self. And that's to be, let's say, determined. To be determined.
Is mastery developed through the choices one makes?
Mastery is developed through the universe. And a certain level of resonant cooperation with the universe. I'm not going to say it's the Tao or the Wow. Maybe it's more the Wow than the Tao. I think Wow is better. You agree to be born, so that means you agree to die. And you agree to everything else in between, whether you become a slave or a master. It's all agreed upon. What is has been agreed upon. It is agreed upon already. You've been agreed upon. Your next words have been agreed upon. Your next question has been agreed upon a long time ago, so get it out so you can catch up with yourself.
So the living being may not remember making these agreements and may not feel...
But your presence is in the form of an agreement. Your presence means you have already agreed to be here. So it is a silent agreement. It doesn't need any speech. It becomes obvious. Your ears were agreed upon so you can hear what is being said. Your eyes have been agreed upon so that at some point in this moment they're being used to see what you need to see. Smell what you need to smell. Taste what you need to taste. Feel what you need to feel. Touch what you need to touch. And know what you need to know so you can be what you need to be.
Is this recognition of these agreements, let's say, a fundamental part of spiritual development?
Not a fundamental part of it. See, understanding more profoundly that there's nothing you can do about it. And what's left in the light of what's real, once you look for what is real properly, is nothing. That means pure spirit. And you start walking the way of pure spirit to maintain pure spirit, in order to be in the service of pure spirit, in order to enter into the realm of pure spirit, in order to be able to know pure spirit, in order to be able to talk about pure spirit, bring it up to your speech, in order to be able to realize pure spirit, in order to be able to transcend pure spirit, and live as pure spirit, being, free soul being.
So if everything is by prior agreement, is choice in an illusion?
If you perceive it as an illusion. If we say, well, you chose to be here, are you an illusion? Because you chose to be here? Yes and no. Are you real? Yes and no. Are you the paradox? Absolutely yes. So can you choose or not choose? That's up to you. You've already chosen. So it's really then beyond will as some kind of free thing, that, like the snap of the fingers, you will to do that. It's beyond that. Because it is what it is. It's not in the moment. It is not the moment. It is beyond the moment. See, the real is not just a moment. It may take you a moment or two, or many moments, to start to recognize what is obvious and what the real is. But that's only because it is defined and determined, if not limited, by your perceptions. Because it is what it is. It's all of your perceptions, not just some of your selective perception as such, or selective thinking, or selective feeling, and selective doing and acting, and so on. Right? Preferential, or let's say, preferred, right? But it is all of it, beyond all of it. It's the all of it beyond the all of it. That makes sense to the reality that moves everything into being, sustains everything as being, and then transcends everything from being to no being, from living to dying, to passing beyond dying towards the infinite, which is all present.
So is the master subject to the same time conditions as all other beings, or is he able to...
The master is not the same time conditions. We're using the master as a metaphor here. It's not a guy, it's not a person. It's not even an intelligence. We don't know that it's even a being, because it is what is. It's the real. It is so much the real that your limited perceptions can only properly acknowledge it or resign itself to agree, in a manner of speaking, that it is beyond description. That means the real, and the master is silence. Whatever that means to you, whatever it brings to your mind. That's how vast it is. So then the master is the heart. So we're talking about the master is the heart is the universe is the field, right? The field is living as itself, see? As appearing and disappearing and ever changing, and yet the stillness of the heart all together and at once, same thing.
So this is a living field with no dying?
It's a living field, period. Dying is what you fear, so you bring it up. It doesn't know dying as you know it. It may not even know living as you know it. See? But you're given an opportunity to experience the limitations of yourself because of the grace that it is. It gives you this, what seems to be freedom to see and perceive and live as a being, let's say, independent of what it is, and there's no such thing. You couldn't have a sense of independence without the total. You couldn't have a sense of separation without the total. In fact, you couldn't have any sense whatsoever without the total, right? Which then is more like what the master is as source. Say, core, heart core source.
Are these kinds of realizations outside of time?
Well, they're not outside or inside of time. They may neither be time nor not time. They may be about time. That means we are discussing about something. About what is for others a very powerful sacred silence. It is sacred silence.
And is that a part of the field, the sacred silence? Is that what we're...
It may be the source of the field. We don't want to say something that make it seem like this is the gospel. You have to believe it because you hear it. No. If you hear it, that means you need to understand it. And if you understand it, that means you have to see it from a certain viewpoint. That might be outside of your self-determining or self-limiting perceptions in the moment. Say, to be determined. Say, these things are to be determined by a certain degree or level of openness into silence where all of it is resolved. All of it dissolves. All of it disappears.
So would you say then that all beings arise from silence and thus embody silence, at least potentially?
Everything is silence. Every sound, every light, every thought, word, action, every being, every reality is silence. Every manifestation of anything and everything to the infinite is silence. Once you get to a certain plateau of not even understanding, but reality. And we might say it is in the process of recovering one's reality as infinite that one comes upon these types of conclusions, which again are perceptions and not to be taken as particular, concrete knowledge or anybody else's reality. It's just that. It is just so. Boom.
Is the silence recognized in all traditions in some manner or another?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every tradition has sleep. Because every being needs sleep. Every being needs to go to sleep, enter into sleep, and recover themselves from sleep into the noise world. A vibration and cosmic phenomena. So everything is from that, obviously. Everything is a manifestation of what it is. So when I use the word go back to source, if you're talking about going back to the nature of silence, as a realization, not as a thing to think about or conceptualize or meditate on particularly. It does the meditating. It is the meditator. It is the thing meditated and so on, as one.
So is this something that's initially experienced and then embodied through further practice?
Who knows? So it is what it is. If you can apprehend it properly, then you might know what it is and maybe what you are or what you need to be. Maybe what you've already been and can tolerate. You have to determine that for yourself. You have to realize it for yourself. And then when you realize it for itself, you're no longer a self, then it is itself. And it speaks for itself, not yourself. Or anybody else's self. It speaks for itself. It's that simple to get.
And is that what led to, let's say, the realization of I am silence?
Yes, I am silence. It's not saying I'm anything. I am silence is the recognition that the I am that I am, which is in the Bible and more or less passed down through all the esoteric trainings and teachings in schools of, let's say, enlightenment or self-realization. Yeah, they don't mean I am of your ego. It's never your I am of a self. That could be anything near silence as such. So the I am of silence is absolutely that. The reality of silence. The it is of silence, then the I am is the it is. And every single being here is as much the I am of it is as it is the I am of its butthole. See?
Are we silence in, or embodying silence, let's say, in our sleep?
Always. You don't have anything without silence. The space to be in is silence, so to speak. True to source. Zero. Heart space. Source. No oneness. No who-ness. No I-ness. No me-ness. No mine-ness. Only it-ness. Which equals the same, but stands apart at the same time. So we get to not only know I-ness, know I, but know itself. And then know to the infinite. So no. Say good. Into silence. Once you realize the pattern that you're experiencing when you're going to no, you realize it's gone already. So you are then in the gone, and so you realize that for yourself. It's already gone. See? And all your garbage, all your clinging to women, clinging to peeps, family, whatever it is, music, all of these things are gone altogether in that one stroke of awakening, that one flash or blink, right? A thunderclap or lightning strike, you see it in the flash, and you wake up. If you wake up, you stay awake even though your eyes are closed and your body's asleep. You wake up.
Prior to the realization of silence, do we experience silence, let's say, unknowingly, in moments, blips?
All the
glimpses?
time. It's your noise, it's your self-noise. Right? It's your body noise. It's your life noise, it's the world noise. Right? Relative to cosmic vibration and friction. So that's what makes noise, so to speak. But it is the source of that. So it's never not present. It's the ever-present. Because without the silence, you'd have no noise. And yet silence is no noise. Take that.
And so the realization is let's say, a sort of permanent recognition of these conditions, ongoing recognition?
Ongoing, it just is. So it's not even ongoing, it's not even recognition, it just is. It is in the so what sense. Oh, big deal, no fuss sense. But it takes beings a long time to get to that kind of nonchalant acceptance of reality beyond self-thought, mind, world, and God, and everything else, in a sense, in terms of what you imagine it to be. This is beyond imagination. Therefore, it's truly called the incomprehensible, which is what it is. So you are the incomprehensible, but you're still trying to comprehend that. You're still busy comprehending your incomprehensibility. Good luck, sweetheart. Crazy. It's nuts. Yeah, you're talking about nuts. Yeah, real nuts. But it is that.
Does the self or ego survive the realization of silence?
Obviously it doesn't. Well, you think that's a bad thing?
I don't know.
You think somebody's concerned about it?
I don't know.
It's terrible. Right? It's a catastrophe. It's a disaster. It's the worst thing that can happen to you. You lose your sense of limitation. You lose your sense or ability or inclination towards self-strangulating, self-defeating, self-destruction. That could be pretty devastating to somebody. But I can't kill anybody anymore. No, there's no I then, there's no killing, there's no anybody anymore. So in fact, there is none. There's just space. Your mind just melts in light. So it doesn't think anymore. You're no longer thinking. So you're not conceptualizing in the same way. You're not feeling and processing suffering in the same way. It's just gone. Already gone. Always here and already gone.
Is the enlightenment state a dormant state within all beings?
Dormant?
Yeah.
Active. It's the living state of all beings. It's the true condition of all beings. Light. Light is light. What else could it be? That's all it is. Oh, that's the word we use for it. Because when you start looking at it in terms of molecular construction, you're getting to light, to the infinite, and it just is what it is. It's light. And some say, well, at the basis of light is darkness. But I'm saying to you that that's also light. Whatever you come up with is just light. Wood for the fire.
And that describes all of life, simply creating conditions.
Then there's no life. There's also no life. There's nothing to think about. There's a lot to do, because then it does it of itself, but there's nothing to think about. You know, as separate. as you and other particularly. Right? Although we frame our lives around this sense of being self and everyone is other. That has to be given up, see, burnt in the process, so that whatever is other is you. You are other, you are self, you are other, you are beyond, you are incomprehensible, you are radiant, you are light, you are peace, you are God, you are beyond God, you are everything you can think of and beyond that, because you're beyond your brain and all of its possibilities. But your brain is limitation, all its possibilities are just limitations. All of it is just limitation, which is also gone, it's blown away, poof. The word instead of God is now poof. I don't mean puff the magic dragon, I mean poof, the poof poof of itself. And it's just gone. And so then you're ready to work. Because it's gone, then you're ready to be available to the universe in a different manner, without looking at yourself in the mirror, without checking time, you're just being, so to speak. You're beyond time, space, energy, and matter, and the universe altogether. You don't even think about it. See? You're in the vastness. So what is left? If you're in the vastness, it's only the vastness.
So this goes with thinking that, or knowing that we're already dead in a sense, already gone in a sense.
Already living dead, already dead alive. Yeah, whatever the words are, you need to sort of play against one another to make sense to your reality, or your radical, let's say, your radical common sense. Then that's what you do, radical common sense, to arrive at that.